Okay, for the rest of the assignment, we will be referring to the PDFs you can find in the lab folder on Blackboard. So the first PDF here that we talked about earlier is called Working with Excel PDF, and this has a summary of all the points that I should be talking about in these videos. There's actually a lot more stuff here that I'm not talking about, that you can go and look at this in your own time. But what I want to point to is this order of operations. So a lot of you will remember from high school or junior high math something called BEDMAS or PEMBAS, which is like parentheses or brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. This is the order in which Excel or math is done. So if you forget, you can look over here, but when we look at our homework, we have a lot of equations that we are going to be putting into our tables, and some of these equations are more than one step, so we will just be paying attention to the order of operations. So what happens inside the parentheses happens first, then division, then multiplication. So if we look at our next table here in Excel, we have percent change. And if we look at the PDF, this is the percent change between this year and last year's price for first, second, third, and fourth quarter of a company that you might be working for. On the PDF, we have supplied you the equations that you are going to be using, and we have color coordinated them to go with the cells where you will be putting these equations. So let's get started. So for the first table here, if you look at the PDF, you see that we have a table that's 1, 2, 3, 4 cells across, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cells down. So in Excel, I've gone ahead and I've created a table that's from B2 through E2 all the way down to E9. So I'm dragging from B2 to E9, and then I'm saying, going to my border drop down, and I'm saying all borders, and from B2 to C2 I did a merge and center. This is important. I will be checking this to see whether you are merging and centering your text on your homework. So B2 to C2 we merge and center, and then we type in solving for percent change. I have gone ahead and highlighted this cell, and I went to the paint bucket here and I chose a light green color for that. The next cell that I merged and centered were C3 through D3, and typed in the word sales here. For C4, I typed in capital TY $, and that stands for this year. These are all the values on the PDF for the first 4 quarters for this year versus last year. And we are going to solve for, we're going to solve for percent change, right? So I'm going to make that column also a green color. This is just showing us that we're going to be putting this equation over here into this cell, and then we'll be dragging that equation down for these 4 quarters. I've put in the first quarter here. I don't need to type in all the quarters. I can just take that chip and drag it down, and Excel will automatically find that sequence and fill in those blanks for me, which is great. Next, I'm going to add my units to my tables here. So these first 2 columns from C5 through D9, I'm going to make sure my units are on currency still, and I'm in US dollars. You'll notice I'm running out of space here, and these equations are quite long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up into my columns area, and I'm going to make these columns double wide. So between the B and C, I'll drag that out. Between C and D, I'll drag that out. Between D and E, I hover my cursor so I see those 2 arrows, and I'm going to drag that size out again. Between E and F, I will do the same thing. Right. At this point, I have my currency in cells C5 through D9. For this last column for percent change, now this is very important. We need to do this right now. I'm going to change this column's units to percent. So I'm going to grab columns E5 through E9, and I'm going to select percentage. So now when we click on our cells here, if I click on these empty cells, I see currency. If I click on D9, I see currency. If I click on E, any one of these cells in this E5 through E9 area, you'll see that my units are percentage. If we do this now, it'll save us a lot of headache down the road. I can then take this table here from B2 through E9, and we can do a copy and paste. I'll do a Control C. You see the dancing line here around our table. We can hit copy, and then we can go down to B12 and hit paste, and paste this table down here, and then go to B22 and paste that table again. This way our units will be there, all of these titles will be here. We'll just have to change the title here where it says percent change. We'll change it to $TY for this year for the second table, and $LY for last year for that table. And then we'll go and change the colors to the corresponding colors that we see here on the equations. We have a periwinkle blue for the second table, and we have a lavender color for the third table. I'm going to go through and look at my other two tables and confirm that I have the correct units. If I click on anywhere here in these this year or last year column, I should be able to see it saying currency in US dollars on both subsequent tables. If I go to the last column, I will see that my units all say percentage on both tables, so I'm good to go. To put these equations, we will be referring to the equations that we filled out over here on this side of your workbook. I do want you to merge these cells. I do want you to write these equations as seen on the PDF that we have supplied you. We have the equations here. You can grab this text and copy and paste from the PDF to Excel if you want to, but I recommend that you just go and type these in. It's a good muscle memory. It's good for you to learn. You're going to have to learn this anyway, merchandisers especially, because we'll be doing all of this all over again in future classes. So I'm going to go and double click on this cell E5, and I'm going to input this equation here. So I have, I'm going to type in the equal sign here, and then I'm going to type in an open parentheses, and then it says here this year. So I'm going to click on the cell over here for first quarter of this year, which is $50,000. I'm not going to type in $50,000. I'm just going to click on the cell C, column C, row 5. I clicked on it. I have a dancing line around this cell. You'll see that Excel automatically entered C5 into this equation. Now I have a minus sign, and then I have last year, so I'll click on this cell for last year, which is column D, row 5, and then we're going to close our parentheses. We're going to do a forward slash, which is divided by. Then I'm going to click on the cell for last year again, which is D5 again, and hit the enter key. And there is my percent change, 42.86%. To do the math, I'm going to click on the cell E5 and look at the lower right hand corner. We'll see that chip, and I will drag it down from E5 through E9, and you will see all the values for this column filled in automatically. Now for the totals here, all I need to do is my auto sum. Do you remember that? I'm going to click on this bottom cell here, click on the auto sum button, and it fills in my equation that adds up all the subsequent values in the cells above it. Just hit the enter key. Take this cell, click on it, go to the lower right hand corner on that chip and just drag it to the right from C9 through D9. At this point, to calculate this cell for all three tables, I'm going to give it a little bit of a different color here just to indicate that this is the percent change of the totals instead of the percent change from this year to last year. So it's the same equation for percent change from this year to last year for my totals as well. So in this table only, I can drag this chip all the way down and get a percent change. I will have to change the color though to match the rest of the tables. Now for these tables here, the values for percent are already input, so we don't have, there's no equation in these cells. So if I were to drag this down, nothing would happen. I need to input this rust colored equation into these latter two tables. filling out the rest of these tables, you'll see I have changed these merged areas to the correct color corresponding to the equations that I have filled out earlier. And let's just fill in the values. For this equation, solving for this year, I have the equation over here. So I'm going to type in the equal sign, and then we'll go open parentheses. We have last year here, so I'm going to click on the cell for last year, which happens to be D15 in this case. Hit the multiplication key. Then I see percent change, so I'm going to click on this cell over here, which happens to be E15. Then I'll hit the close parentheses. Then I'll hit the addition symbol. And then I'll hit last year again. Now it's important that we are clicking on the cells here and not actually inputting these numbers. Once I have that, I can hit the enter key, and I calculated my first quarter value. I can drag that down all the way through fourth quarter. And then for my totals, I just hit the auto sum button again. Here's my equation. I'll hit the enter key, and I will take this value and drag it over one cell to my last year totals. Now for the percent change between this year and last year's totals, I will have to input this rust colored equation again, which is the same as this green colored equation. I'll type in the equal sign, open parentheses, and we have this year minus last year, close parentheses, / last year again, equals, I have 1%. All right, for this lavender one here, we are going to be solving for last year. So I'm going to click on my cell here, D25, and hit the equal sign. And you'll notice here that I don't have parentheses. I have it twice here because I typed it out in the beginning, and then I just kind of copy and pasted it down here so I could just quick reference it. We have equals. I have no parentheses here. I just have this here. So I'm going to just click on this cell for this year, and then hit the minus sign, and then hit open parentheses. We'll go this year again, multiplied by percent change, close parentheses, and that's it. Hit the equal sign. There's my value. I'll drag that down for the 4 quarters here. I'll do my auto sums here, auto sum, and then I will drag this over once. And then for this equation here, it's again equal sign, open parentheses. We have this year minus last year divided by last year. So we go over here, this year minus last year, close parentheses, / last year again. What happened here? I'm not exactly sure. Let's go back and fix that. Okay, I've gone and fixed that. Now sometimes what happens is if you lose a value like I just did and you go back and you type in 21%, it may say 2100%. If that's the case, you just put the decimal place 0.21 and you'll get your 21%. And I have 13% in my last value. And that's how you do table 2. Okay, for table 3, the markdown tables is much more of the same. Again, you can make one table and fill in your units here. We have dollars for C2 through C3, and we have percent for C4. Once you have your values entered and your units put in, you can copy and paste the table 2 more times. Here's the equation over here. You can find this on the PDF. It's markdown divided by sales. You will notice that, again, I don't have enough space for my cells, so I'm going to go up here between column B and C, and I'm going to make that double wide. C and D, double wide again. And I'll just keep going. Everything will be double wide. Just give myself some space to do my work. I'll leave you to fill in the rest of these, or I can show you. Here, we go equal sign, markdown, which is this cell, / sales, which is this cell. Hit the equal sign, 8.61%. And we'll do the same thing. Equal sign, markdown divided by sales, And again over here, equal sign, we have markdowns / sales. Over here we have something very similar. I don't have enough space again. I'm going to go between columns E and F and make this double wide. For percent off, which is basically percent change, again, it's the same thing. Equal sign, open parentheses. Instead of this year and last year, we have retail price minus sales price, close parentheses, / retail price again. Hit the enter key. I will take that value and drag that down. And for sales price, we have equal sign, no parentheses this time, we just go retail price minus, then we do an open parentheses, retail price again, multiplied by percent off. Close parentheses, equal sign, we take that value and drag it down. That's how we do table 2. Moving on to table 3. We have one large table. I'm going to go from B2 all the way through D17, and we'll do make sure our borders are showing. I've done a little bit of formatting. I made this top row in bold type. I've added color where the blank spaces are. I'm just matching what is on the PDF here. What I forgot to mention is back on this set of tables, on the PDF here, on little table 5, it says half off. In English, you will have to write 50%, not half off. Half off is not the correct value. And again, for this table here, for markup, I have my equations over here. I want you to write them out and color coordinate them. We have a periwinkle blue, another rust colored, and a gray color. You will be clicking on the cell for cost. You will be typing in 100% this time, and then clicking on the cell for markup percent. So if you look at the Excel sheet here, I've already filled out my tables. Again, we are going to go into our columns and make these double wide for our equations here. Give ourselves plenty of space to write these out, and I'll let you fill these in. I'll do a couple here. So we have cost calculations. We do an equal sign, then we click on the retail cell, multiplication symbol, open parentheses, type in 100%. We got to put the percent symbol. Then we do a minus sign. Oops. A minus sign. Click on the markup percent and close our parentheses and hit enter. And you'll have to do that for every colored blank cell. Don't forget this second table down here. Once you put the equation here for markup, let's do that. We'll go equal sign, open parentheses, we have our retail value, which is cell C20, minus the cost cell. We'll close our parentheses, do a / retail again, hit enter. Once we have that, we can drag that down. Now you'll notice that these values differ from the PDF with the respect that I have 2 decimal places following my whole number here. If you want to clean this up, you can select the cells you want to have less decimal places, and over here at the top you will see the 2 symbols for increasing and reducing decimal spaces. So I'm going to click on this decrease decimal spaces. I'll click that twice and you'll notice that my decimal places are now gone. This is an aesthetic choice. I'll leave it up to you. For this last table, we're going to be doing units to order, which is an activity that a lot of you buyers will be doing. I went ahead and made some space in my last column. I was short on space, so I expanded the cells between my K and my L column. For this equation here on your PDF, you have total units times percent. I'm going to show you something called an absolute cell reference, because the way the PDF does it is it doesn't have this $ in front of total units. If you do a total units times percent, you will have to type in that equation for every single cell, And who wants to do that? I don't want to do that, so I'm going to show you a shortcut on how to do that. We have up here 7%, 11%, the values. You can check your PDF. We have our sizes for shoes here. And we have our total units. Here's our equation. Quantity equals total units times percent. So if I click on this cell here, so my tables here started at C1, went down to K5, and then my second other table was C7 and went down to K11. And I have their respective values already filled in. All right, so for D3 here, I'm going to put my equation in, and I have total units, which is here, K3, right? Oh, I got to put my equal sign first. Equal sign, tell Excel you're going to do some math. We'll go total units, which is K3, multiplied by my percent. And in this case, it's D1 for 7%. Now, if I hit the Enter key, you'll notice I have my value here. I cannot, if I drag my chip over to the right, I'm getting 0, 0, 0, because what it's doing is it's taking 7% times 2,500, then it's going 11%, and it's multiplying it by this empty cell, and 22% and multiplying it by this empty cell. We want to multiply every one of these percent values by this number here, by 2,500. So I'm going to go back and double click on this cell to reveal my equation. And my total units was column K, row 3, right? I'm going to put my cursor in front of the K, and I'm going to hit shift number 4, which is the $ on an American keyboard. If you are an international student and your keyboard has different symbols, try doing shift number 4 for whatever symbol you have there. If you are unable to, if this does not work, then you will have to just Google in your own language absolute cell reference for Excel. If you can't do that, you're just going to have to type in the equation for each one of these cells. I hope that is not the case. I'm going to hit the Enter key and find my value here. Now that I have my absolute cell reference, which is this $ in front of my column, K3, right? I can take my chip here. Now I can drag these over to the right, and it will put in my values. So again, for my next shoe, let's try this again. Equal sign, total units, multiplied by percent. I'm going to go back in front of my total units and put in shift number 4, which is my $ key. Hit the Enter key and drag this over. One more time. Equal sign, total units multiplied by my percent. We'll go and put in shift number 4, and we'll drag that over. I wouldn't worry about this 0.5 because maybe you want to buy just one shoe. Maybe you're doing a window display. I don't know. I'm not going to judge. Okay, so let's put our pictures in here. We're going to go to Google here, and we'll type in, pretend like you're working for your favorite shoe company. Let's type in a shoe here. I'm going to type in Louboutin. This is my knockoff brand shoe here. We'll go to Images, and I want to find a nice picture of a shoe. Now, not all websites will allow you to grab the picture. Let's see if I can grab this one here. I'm going to right-click on it and say Copy Image. We'll go to my Excel sheet, and I'm going to click on A1 here and hit Paste. And it's quite large. So I'm going to click on this picture, and we'll resize it, of course, to put that right here. And then once you click on the picture, you'll notice some formatting show up. You can put like a little reflection or a drop shadow or something like that. It's all up to you. I'm going to put in my name here, Louboutin. Okay. And you get the idea. You'll have to do it the same. I don't want you to use the same pictures you see on the PDF. Find your dream shoe, merge these cells, and put your title in, and fill in these values. All right, that's it. When you're done with this, you're just going to take this Excel workbook and upload it to Blackboard. You do not convert this to a PDF. I want the Excel workbook so I can click on the cells and check to see if your equations are in place. All right, that's it. Stay safe out there. Enjoy spring break. I'll see you hopefully soon. Bye-bye.